Yeah, that's correct. That's what you're seeing. Probably the most talked about album cover of 2025. Probably one of the most controversial pop album covers in a good while. That's right, the new Sabrina Carpenter album. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazable coming at you with a new music review. Thank you for coming on by. I appreciate it so much. Like, subscribe, and comment down below because we are talking about, like I said, the new Sabrina Carpenter album, Man's Best Friend. I'm sure you probably know who Sabrina Carpenter is, but if you don't know, she is an American pop singer that has been, really popping off in the past couple years, but she's been in the music game for almost 10 years. She's been, well, actually, not just music, but entertainment business. She's been an actress, musician. She's doing a lot of things, but like I said, in the past couple years, she's really blown up with her song from 2024 called Espresso, which really, took her to a whole nother level. And her tongue-in-cheek talk about like relationships and how dumb men are, and just overall her, I guess, very relatable uh, songs too about like the current state of dating in the world and everything. So a lot of women resonate in her, and she's become a very popular and very interesting artist to watch in the past couple of years. And I also reviewed her album last year, and if you had to catch it or not, it was one of my not most favorite albums of last year. One of the, and if you can check out my top 10 worst albums, I'll put that in the link. She made the cut on that one. But with this newest album, I gotta say, maybe things are turning around for Sabrina Carpenter. Because when I reviewed her album from last year, Short and Sweet, I said that Sabrina Carpenter definitely has the vocal chops and the charisma to be a really big star. But she often undercuts herself with some really clunky one-liners and just overall some like really just immature lines and overall lyrics that are felt quite immature. Sure, she was being very cheeky with that album, but after listening to that album, I really wanted her to sharpen her skills in terms of writing and lean into some more sincerity that occasionally peeked through that album, Short and Sweet. And with this latest album, Man's Best Friend, album cover aside, I feel like she's finally doing that. Balancing humor, heartbreak, and honesty in a way that feels very intentional, but most importantly, it feels very mature. She's still quick with, the whole tongue-in-cheek punchlines and trying to be funny. Prime examples of this is on the songs like Man Child, where the whole concept of this song is about her, just wishing her man wasn't such a man child and could do basic things like charge his phone. Or on the song Never Getting Laid, where she wishes her ex to never get laid. Proves that, her wittiness and her like charm to be funny, it's not going anywhere. But I feel like the execution here is just sharper, less immature, less, mean, and just overall not as awkward. With her wit on the last album, it felt like a lot of the funny things she was trying to do just came off as like cheap shots. But this time around with this latest record, she seems more playful with her satire. Even when she's like dragging someone through the dirt, there's an intelligence behind it in her wordplay that just seems more self-aware than being petty. I feel like the humor on this record is more balanced out with real emotional weight. Tracks like We Almost Broke Up Again Last Night and Goodbye really strip back the gloss that she had with the last record, and it feels like a lot of her vulnerability is coming through. The acoustic textures, the whispered delivery from her, and the swelling arrangements from the instruments really create a sincerity that hits really hard on this record compared to anything on her last album on Short and Sweet. The songs, they don't really need to hide behind, clever lines or anything. They just work because they're a bit more straightforward and restrained. For the first time, it feels like she really trusts her listeners enough to just sit back and just listen to her heartbreak and just be with her as she's singing her like heart out. And also, she's kind of experimenting with her sound, and I gotta say, it kind of pays off more here because the album shifts between 70s like soul, 80s synth pop, and some twangy country strums that just go without feeling ever, well, they don't ever feel really scattered. They just flow into each other very nicely. Tears brings like, a smoky piano driven groove that's both sensual and also witty. While Nobody's Son, uses some whimsical trumpets and some heavy reverb vocals to dress up a song that's being very dismissal of dismissive of immature exes. Even a more playful track like Go-Go Juice works because it merges that country twang loosiness with warm group vocals that feel more like celebratory than, you know, just like a throwaway song. What really ties this all together this time around is her voice. It sounds more confident, it has a more sultry feel to it, but her perspective. Songs like Sugar Talking and When Did You Get So Hot show that she doesn't really need to rely on sex jokes anymore to command attention, because she has such an empowerment in her simple phrasing and her vocal performances. Even at times, they do get a little bit muddled. She still has a very powerful vocal performance here. The difference between Short and Sweet and Man's Best Friend is night and day. I used to think, could, you know, Sabrina Carpenter's like witty and funny kind of style of singing, could it really hold up over time? The humor is sharper here, the heartbreak feels a little bit more believable, and the production feels more deliberate than anything she's done before. To put it simply, it's mature, it's funny, and it doesn't really lose any of that playful edge that makes, you know, Sabrina Carpenter so likable. So I would say this time around, the songs, they seem to stick more because, you know, they're not so shocking, even with this shocking album cover. They just overall feel more real. So this latest album from Sabrina Carpenter, I've got to give it up to her. It's a solid and okay 7.5 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this newest album from Sabrina Carpenter. I will link my original view of Short and Sweet and tell me what you think about that review. And until next time, guys, see you in the pit. Good things about you.